It's not just making a statement, but it is to take action. And the action is that we need to ensure that we put mechanisms in place to protect all men and women in St. Lucia.
A string of horrific attacks, from a deadly chopping in Choiseul to 2 women gunned down and stabbed in separate incidents, both employees at the same establishment, as well as 2 cases of brother-on-brother murder, has sparked outrage among the public. Citizens are calling for answers and demanding that public officials speak out. For Gender Affairs Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, it's not enough to offer lip service. Action is required.
We have just completed a review of the Women's Support Center to determine the status of that entity, because many people thought it was a government agency, whereas government gives support to help the agency function, but it is not a government entity. So it is supposed to be run by a statutory board, and then they actually manage the entity by itself. So now we are going to table this report in cabinet, and government will take a position as to what is the status of this entity. But right now they are actually engaging persons virtually in terms of giving them the assistance.
The minister emphasizes the need for swift measures to identify weaknesses within the systems meant to protect citizens and to strengthen them urgently.
We also have the Crisis Center, which government, they have just established a new board, and they have written to the Department of Gender indicating that they have to vacate the location where they are. And we are actually trying to secure additional funding from government to give them the support. But we are waiting for the new board to put their programs in place so that we can give that entity a new outlook when they resume their operations in the new location where they will be. However, in the meantime, the Department of Gender will be giving them some space at least to deal with the clients that come in while we establish a new location for them.
Dr. Albert Poyot spotlighted that the Domestic Abuse Act No. 11 of 2022 makes provisions for individuals with knowledge of or reasonable grounds to suspect that a person has committed, is committing, or is likely to commit an act of domestic violence to make a report to a police officer.
Before, it was only the victim who could report. Now, any bystander or any person who sees or knows of the incident can report the matter to the police. And the legislation also speaks to the woman or the victim does not have the right to withdraw the case. You cannot withdraw the case. You cannot waste the police time starting the case and later you say you are not coming and you are not appearing. They will proceed with the case. And we have also engaged in training for the police officers on how to deal with domestic violence issues. They did not know how to handle. They handle all cases as a criminal matter. But when it is domestic violence, a domestic violence incident, they have to document it differently to just a regular crime matter. And in that case, we have done training for the police officers on how to handle domestic violence matters.
Despite strides made through training and the robust legislation hailed as one of the most progressive domestic violence acts in the region, issues within the system persist. Advocates like Raise Your Voice St. Lucia's Catherine Seelys called for a complete overhaul of the numerous agencies tasked with protecting victims of gender-based violence. The other pressing matter of witness protection was also placed before Albert Poyot.
That will deal with the judicial section, but what they have been asking for is how do you bring the witness so that the defendant and the other parties do not identify the person, because you know you are going to put the person at risk. When we deal with witness protection based on the cases that have been drawn to my attention, it is a very expensive exercise to protect these witnesses. There are cases where we have to send these people overseas. Now, when we send these people overseas, how do we bring them back to be a witness in the case? That is a challenge. We have to pay airfare, we have to pay maintenance fee for wherever the person is, to feed the person for as long as the person is there under protection. So these are some of the issues that we have to face. It's a very expensive exercise. Now, some people say, I feel threatened, I feel I'm a witness to a case and I need protection. Now, the police may say, no, according to the case, they don't see you as somebody who is threatened and at risk.
Despite progress, advocates call for urgent reforms to strengthen the system and ensure the safety of vulnerable citizens. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.